The 1997 smash hit Age of Empires has returned with a remastered graphical overhaul. One of the real-time strategy games that sticks in people's mind the most, and helped spawn one of the greatest RTS series. People have been asking and clamoring for a remaster ever since Age of Empires 2 HD was released 5 years ago. Now that it's here, is it worth picking up? Graphically, the game is quite nice and respects the original game's style well for the most part. My minor gripe is that the game has been made to look very detailed up close, which it does definitely, but when you zoom out, some of the detail in the units makes them look less distinct from one another. It's a minor thing, but when making an RTS, it's a good idea to remember that more graphical detail isn't exactly better. The building destruction animation is quite good though, maybe better than I've ever seen in any other RTS. Now the main thing I was expecting in this release was that the pathfinding in the original game would be fixed, and perhaps it would run closer to that of Age of Empires 2 or Age of Mythology. Now that is not the case, and the notoriously bad pathfinding is still notoriously bad. It just turns every task from villager collection to unit movement into a chore. You'll be doing a lot of babysitting to make sure things go how you want them to. I mean, look at this nonsense. They're all stuck on each other, and I can't separate them by making them go in different directions. It's insane. This is a big deal, by the way, because this is the entire game right here. This was annoying when the game came out, and I don't even want to deal with this kind of stuff now. Another annoying archaic element is how the enemy AI never gives up when it's defeated. In these missions where you have to defeat the enemy, it means you have to wipe them from the face of the earth, and you'll have to hunt down every last remaining unit hiding in the tiniest corner. I don't want to spend 10-15 minutes looking around, so I have to cheat to see where they are. It's something that was very frustrating in the first game, and nothing has been changed here. So there really is almost no technical upgrades in this game. Yes, the idle villager button is a nice addition, but that's the only technical improvement I can think of in this game. Balance-wise, this game is not too dissimilar to the original. Minor civilization balances have been made almost across the board, which is very welcome. It's very welcome because Age of Empires 1 doesn't play very well. The unit balance and the civilization bonuses are fairly uninteresting. There's a lack of bonuses across units, so you will simply have to overpower strong units. For example, there's no cheap way to overpower a cavalry unit. And if you're not a civilization with access to chariots, there isn't a cheap way to take on archers either. You're also fairly limited in your unit selection. It just means that you're using the same units and countering the same enemies in the same ways. I understand Age of Empires 2 has its own issues, but it plays a lot better than Age of Empires 1. You always have access to cheap and effective counters to powerful units, and a greater variety of responses to situations. Also, the fact that units don't engage things like they've been spun around 3 times is a nice element too. Another thing I can't stand about this game is how certain technologies are randomly needed for other certain technologies. If you want to get access to the Legion research, you have to build a temple and research this unrelated technology. If you want to build heavy catapults, you have to research the maximum stone mining tech at the market. It's just convoluted, and it's just one of those things that would have been good to change. Almost all of the campaign missions have been changed in this remaster. Some very subtly, and some are completely different. One of the really cool changes is that the Roman mission, Coming of the Huns, has been completely changed into a recreation of the Age of Empires 2 Hun mission of the Catalonian fields. Most of these changes are for the better, but some of the old campaigns were quite memorable and fun. Their simplicity is deceiving because sometimes during the Age of Empires series, missions can be a little overly thematic and really restrict how you play. It's a little annoying to not be able to play some of the classic campaigns, since there's no classic mode available. The quality of the campaigns is not too dissimilar from the original game. The base game campaigns are alright, decent but not amazing, where the campaigns in the Rise of Rome expansion are very good, and from a map design perspective, some of the best missions in the series. It gives you a sense that the team really learned from their experiences with the first game. The difficulty of these missions can be all over the place, and it's hard to get an idea of what difficulty to play on. Sometimes moderate is a cakewalk, and sometimes it's extremely difficult. Most of the difficulty is managed by how fast and how numerous the game rushes you, meaning once you have a stable defense, the game plays the same regardless of difficulty. This isn't a one game problem, and the whole series is like this, where in the mid and late game, the enemy AI puts up next to no fight. When it comes to the multiplayer, it's not fantastic. The server menu is really slow and clunky, probably one of the worst I've used in a modern release. There really seems to be a big push towards rushing, since early age units are quite cheap and effective. So you will see a lot of Axeman rushes or Chariot Archer rushes. I don't think I've seen something like a Centurion once online. So imagine balance issues like that on top of all the other game's issues. It's been a little hard for me to get a game online thanks to the whole Australia thing, so take what I say when it comes to the multiplayer with a grain of salt. I think there's a reason why it's been a long time since an Age of Empires Remastered was released, and it's that this is not a game people want to play extensively. There are those who want to play real-time strategy games who aren't going to be happy with the unit balance or the awful pathfinding to invest much time into it. Or there's the people nostalgic for the game who want a remaster as essentially a novelty. The game is not expensive at $20, so I don't think they're trying to scam anyone out of their money, and I'm happy with what I paid for. But if you're on the fence about getting it, go buy Age of Empires 2. It's better in almost every way, and it has more support with balancing updates, a large creative community, and additional expansions, which are actually fairly decent and have some of my favorite missions in any Age game. I'm not that into the novelty of Age of Empires 1, I'm not that into how it plays, and I'm really not into the technical issues. And I think many people would feel the same.